Heard a lot about this show, the ExCandidates.
This has been a pretty thorough interview.
These institutions which we've been told to respect and trust are actually completely untrustworthy.
Have you confirmed that you are negative before attending tonight if you are unvaccinated?
I still see people with masks on and driving, and they're in the car by themselves.
So you can pay my electricity bill, you thieving little spit.
We're teaching them about what it means to be a pansexual instead of teaching them how to do your taxes.
It's no for me. I say no to the voice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the ExCandidates. My name is Stephen Tripp, and as always, I'm joined by Adam Zara, fresh off the heels of the New South Wales state election. How are you feeling, Adam?
I'm lucky I'm awake. You look about as tired as I feel. I'm telling you what, it's just crazy at the moment.
I got the massive big bags under my eyes.
Hey, well, you're the hardest working upper house candidate I've ever seen. So, like between different candidates and, even coming out my way to help me, it's been pretty wild. So we'll all catch up and we'll all regroup after the final results come in.
I almost killed myself, I think. But we're back in it straight after the election because we're very privileged to have Sarah Game on today's episode. The South Australian One Nation Upper House member of Parliament. She was elected last year. How are you today, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. Actually, you've got a very interesting story. We did a little bit of research on your backstory because we don't get a lot of media about South Australia here in New South Wales. It's kind of like one of those places that you don't really hear a lot about. But what I found is that when you were at school, one of your year 10 maths teachers told you that at that point in time you had no options ahead of you in future because you were failing all of your subjects, and somehow from that moment you turned it around and into a tertiary exit score of 99.7, and now you're in Parliament, and following your work, you're one of the hardest working politicians that I've ever seen. You're always doing something. With that in mind, can you give us a little bit of your background and then maybe talk about that moment a little bit?
Well, yeah, I might start with that moment because that moment is such a pivotal moment for me, and I think it's influenced me greatly because it's kind of always made me think, oh my goodness, if I can do it, if I can turn things around and get a score like 99.7, and I just say it because I don't say it to sort of big myself up. I just say it because I was just an average person, and then I was a really below average person, really struggling for lots of reasons. And I went to lots of different schools. I went to 5 or 6 different high schools. I think that was a factor. And, my parents had broken up, and there was a lot of disruption going on. And I was just doing so badly. And I always thought people who got a score like that were kind of just a different type of person. Someone like me could never do anything like that. And so when I realized that someone like me could do something like that, it really made me feel like so many people can really do something like that or equivalent, if they put their mind to it. And I became really passionate about, passionately against really this idea of pigeonholing people, this is you, this is what you're good at, or this is what you're like, or, this is how well you've done in the past. So this is kind of your limitation. And I just really hate that. I really hate pigeonholing anyone about what they're capable of doing based on their past. And I'm a really big believer in, with hard work and discipline, being able to achieve things that you really never thought you could. That's really what that moment gave me. And I also really appreciated that. I'm a mum. I've got 3 kids. We're very, very close. Adore my children. Very loving. But I'm also a tough mum, and I believe in tough love. And I think that moment was a tough love moment as well, because he was honest with me in a really tough way. I remember sitting in that hallway, stuffing around really, in year 10. And, he said, oh, what do you want to do after school? And I thought, I answered really sort of honestly, actually, with a whole lot of wonderful ideas that I hadn't thought out, and I didn't even know what was required to get there. And I just remember him saying so clearly to me, well, at the moment, you have no options. You know? Yeah.
How did that, I could imagine, well, I'd imagine how I'd feel, because I had a moment similar to that as well. Obviously, it wasn't a maths teacher. I had an art teacher tell me the same thing, and she goes, you've got all this talent and you can't do any, and you're not doing anything with it, wasted talent. So I felt crushed, but then it kind of inspires you, obviously, to, you know, move forward. But how did that make you feel? And do you think teachers could get away with just saying something like that to students these days?
Well, I think that's a really good point.
So we'd like to hear that story another time as well. But thank you very much for coming on. How can people follow you? You're always out doing something. So how can people follow you through social media?
That's right. Well, I'm doing something every day, literally, or multiple things a day. So I guess I would love people to follow me on, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I am on TikTok now. Look, this is my new staffer. He's young. He's telling me this is what all the young people are doing now. So however we can reach them, that's what we're doing. So I guess if you're young and on TikTok, I'm there too, apparently, although I don't log on to my own TikTok. I'd love people to follow me on my social media. That would be great.
Okay, and follow us on social media as well. We're everywhere. Gab, Getter, places that most people don't even know about. So find us at the ExCandidates. Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you for all your work. I definitely feel that you are the hardest working politician that I've seen anywhere, because you're always on the go. It's talking to people. And as you said, research. And I'm sure you turn that into action as well. So thank you very much for coming on the show. And thank you, Adam. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.